In this video, I'm gonna share with you a brief introduction to ASP.NET Boilerplate framework. But this time around, we're gonna look at the front-end side of things. In the past video, we looked at the APIs on the back-end side of the framework. On the contrary now, I'm gonna be talking about Angular and the front-end implementation. Hey, this is Eduardo Santana here. I've been doing software development for many years now, and I wanted to create this series of video to help you if you are a student or a new software developer who is looking to create a new web application and you want to follow a clear path to follow the best practices of object-oriented programming. The main idea is for you to use ASP.NET Boilerplate framework as a starting point for your new web application, which will give you best practices and will save you time on the boilerplate code. Because at the end of the day, in every application, there are some repetitive tasks that you have to do over and over again. And this framework will give you the solid starting point that you can rely on. In this specific video, we're going to talk about first, who is this framework for? Does it work for you? And after, we're going to talk about some of the most relevant time-saving features this framework is offering. Now, let's move on. Who is this framework for? When it comes to the front end, the ASP Boilerplate framework is for someone who is looking for the rapid application development, but more important, for someone who is familiar with Angular ecosystem. This framework will give you the option to download a complete project, which will give you the login page, the tenant page, the multi-tenancy page, and user and role management pages. So let's go and see the download page so we can see the different options that we have. So we can see here that before it was offering the React and Vue client applications, but for now, we are just having Angular, and we see that the current version of the template is version 8. Target framework is .NET 7. So if I want to, let's say, download this template here, I would just say, let's say, my college, and then download. Let's go back to the presentation here. So we can see that the version 8 is using Angular 15, is using NSWAG 13, and is using TypeScript 4.8 and is using as well Jasmine 4.5. Let's go to the features now. So when it comes to the relevant features on the front end, we have the token base with the JWT token functionality, which will be there for you by default. You're going to have as well the Angular multi-tenancy management pages provided. And we're going to have as well multi-language support using the L pipe that is right there for you. And finally, you're going to have the proxy service with the static data types generated by NSWAG. Finally, I personally think the most relevant and useful feature is this last one. And that's why let's talk about this NSWAG. Why do we need NSWAG in JavaScript? So let me start by saying that in a normal JavaScript web application, we need some sort of access to the backend APIs in some way. Most of the time, we do use HTTP requests to access the backend information. And for those HTTP requests, we mostly go for using libraries like Axios, or we could just go with vanilla JavaScript using XML HTTP request class. In Angular, on the contrary, we want to use Angular HTTP library, but we want to create a proxy service class that will contain the backend communication related stuff all in there. So we are going to use this TypeScript proxy service that will expose the backend APIs as methods inside this TypeScript proxy service. And we are going to see what it means in a couple of seconds. Again, in an Angular code, you will have the proxy class, which is this one, which will allow you to do the HTTP request, this one, and that HTTP request will give you access to the backend data or the backend information. How is it going to work? How is going to create, or who's going to create this proxy service? One, you can create it manually by taking your DTOs and doing one by one, or we can go look to the next slide now. And then we're going to be using NSWAG in Angular. So this service proxy will be generated automatically for you by NSWAG. This is the way it works. And Swag will take your Swagger API or your Swagger URL. And from there, it's going to take the Open API specifications, and then it is going to generate the TypeScript proxy service for your application. And basically, I want to leave it there If you want to find more information about NSWAG functionality and how it does the NSWAG generate the code, you can go to the GitHub page that's going to be there in the video description. Let's go to our next slide now. So it is very easy to get up and running with the complete Angular application when you download the template. Let's go to the example page and you can see how easy it is to start a new application. I'm gonna click here. And when it comes to the Angular application, you can see here it starts by saying, hey, it's .NET Core application. This is one image of the Swagger client that's going to be generated for you. But here it starts, hey, when it comes to the Angular application, so we have the requirements. You need Node.js, .9 plus, and you need NPM 3.10 plus. Then you need TypeScript 2.0 plus. We're going to be using the Angular CLI for some development purposes. Yeah, you can go and restore the packages, you do npm install, and then you run the application using the npm start. Then after that, you're gonna get the local host on the port 4200 in your browser, and you can navigate and you will see the login page. It's that simple, guys. Once you download the template, that's gonna be a piece of cake. Let's go back to the presentation now. So I want to leave the video there. In the next video, I'm going to show you the backend up and running, and I will create a Swagger API using PostgreSQL and using Entity Framework. After that, in another video, I'm going to share with you an Angular application with a student entity and permission supply. And finally, in another video, I'm going to show you how to generate the code for a new entity class using the code generator. If you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to get the notifications for the next video. See you next time.